Oh, I forgot my countdown timer. I think we're just going in. We're going in hot.
We made it.
Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Uh, oh, I'm getting my own audio back out. That's not good.
Rookie mistake. Happens to the best of us
Terrible.
almost every time, I feel like.
Terrible. I think we're good. Oh, that's awesome. So thank you for joining, folks. Nope, it's getting worse. It's getting worse.
I'm going to try to talk as loud as I can so that it continues to come back through.
Okay, I see you on StreamYard now. I don't have Twitch open, but I will get it open. But I think we're still live.
Live on mine, I can see it.
I
Yeah.
think I just need to jump into the right Twitch chat to get things rolling again. Bear with me, folks. I apologize. It's been a crazy day. Bear with me, folks. I apologize. There we go. All right. Now we're in business. Twitch, you always want to go live with everything. It's crazy.
That's right.
All right. So, James, I know we don't have a ton of people out there yet, so I'm going to take this time to throw a quick little Twitter announcement out. And then
Oh, that's exactly what I'm doing.
Oh, are you? See,
Yeah.
you'll probably get more people in here anyways. The Apprite team was supposed to send something out. Let me double check and see if they rock that out.
Let me see. Since I tagged them on my post, I can get to theirs quickly. So Apprite has 108,000 on followers on Twitter. That's
Isn't that
wild.
wild?
Yeah.
Like, it's incredible for a product that has so much potential, but is still
Right. It's still
very
new.
beta,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Oh.
that's excitement. You probably knew you were talking to somebody with a cat.
Or she was like 100,000 followers on Twitter. What? That's
Such
crazy.
excitement.
That's
Oh
so
my
many.
goodness.
Eddie, quiet.
That's hilarious.
I don't think we have anybody
Oh yeah, here's
at our door or anything.
Oh, I thought they retweeted this 500 times already. I guess that was when we hit our 100,000 follower giveaway.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we're not as cool as 100,000 followers.
It's amazing. I wonder what I wonder like what people would say, like why they would say they grew that much. That's huge. Especially
Yeah,
like that's just
I really think there's a lot of potential behind it. So I think a lot of people are excited, that have been using Firebase and Supabase, and I don't know, you could name a bunch of them that are out there. But the fact this is just fully open source and they can dive in, I think it really has people kind of excited about it. So I think that's what got it going. And then just Eldad, he's probably incredible and talking to people about it. So for the folks who don't know, Eldad is our CEO and founder of Apprite. Very cool guy. If you can ever get a chance to talk to him, he's also very busy. So we'll see.
fair enough.
Oh, Brandon's floating around somewhere. Okay. All the necessary things to excite people about the stream have happened. Let's
The
go
hype is
ahead
real. Let's do it.
Oh, I like the little heads. Wenyugi.
I don't know if I've
Wenyush?
I don't know if I've seen Winuge in a stream before.
Yeah, I'm not
Hello.
familiar. Hello.
And I see our friend Brandon. Brandon, your name came up with my wife and I the other day because you're speaking at Refactor. Is that the one in Atlanta coming up?
That is a great conference if you haven't been to it,
I haven't
James.
been to that one. Yeah, I've heard good things though.
It's amazing. Refactor.tech, most diverse conference I've ever been to, most knowledgeable conference I've ever been to. Maybe not ever, but right up there with all of them. Got to meet a ton of cool people. And that was before COVID, so probably 2019, 2018 when I was there, somewhere like that. So very cool. Atlanta's a cool town too to hang out in.
Mm-hmm. I'll have to check that one out in the future. I don't think I've ever submitted a CFP, so maybe I'll be there next year. Not too far away either.
Yeah, I know, and don't take this the wrong way, but I know that they are looking for a more of a non-white male crowd to speak. So it could be challenging on that side, but just FYI.
Yeah, well, that's so I saw a similar thing with Render ATL, right? Like You
Yeah.
mentioned Refactor being one of the most diverse. Render was the by far the most diverse conference I've ever been to, and it was absolutely incredible. So that was really really cool to be a part of, and I actually led like my talk, just like addressing how cool I thought that was, and how everyone here like represented tech and all those things. So yeah,
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, I haven't been to that one. I've watched it online, I believe. That was the last time I saw it, so
yeah,
a lot of good
they.
conferences coming up
Mhm,
too.
mhm.
Upright's going to, Flutter Vikings. They're a big sponsor
Oh,
of that.
fun! That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that should be a really cool one. My next one's NGConf. Do you do anything on the Angular side?
I went to NGConf like 4, actually 5 years ago, maybe, but not anymore. So I was doing Angular at the time with
Yeah.
FedEx. The Auth0 team will be there. They're sponsoring. So,
Nice. Yeah.
um,
Brandon and I will be out there. I don't know who else is coming to that one,
mhm,
but pretty exciting. Pretty excited to
makes
be out
sense.
there.
Oh, Brittany rated, by the way.
Oh, she did! A
Brittany.
successful raid. See, I should always go after Brittany, every day of the week. I guess
Mhm.
she's streaming these days.
Yeah, that's been like if you have the ability to make friends with someone that has like a really big audience on Twitch and then stream right after they do, it strategically helps bring in some eyes to what you're doing.
Yeah, I would say, like, I don't care about the numbers necessarily, but it's kind of funny when you read the fine print on Twitch, it's like, "Viewers don't count that have been rated," and I'm like, "Oh, that's not cool." Like,
Really?
why
Oh,
would they
that
take
sucks.
that away? Like, it's so weird.
Well, and whatever I get my analytic, like when Stream Labs
Mm,
sends me a message after, I think they like it definitely has included them in the past because the numbers that I've seen have not been indicative of stuff without rates. But I'll give you like a 30-second rant. So you mentioned
do it.
like numbers don't matter, which I think is great, but at the same time, like I think I want to be super transparent with people because I think people get ashamed if they feel if they like worry about numbers. It's like obviously it's natural to care. Like if
Oh,
you
yeah.
create something and people don't interact, you feel you question its value, you question like how you're doing, all the things. More people interact and get value out of it, like beneficial for them, but also is like more encouragement to continue to do that thing because you know people are actually listening and responding. So I know people are like self-conscious
Yeah.
to say they care about numbers. Not saying that's you right now, but
No, I
I think
guess
it's a natural thing.
I totally feel the same way you do, and what I meant by it was that if it's 5 people, I'm still gonna do the same thing, like, I wanna
Yeah,
talk to you
yeah,
guys, I wanna interact. If it's 1,000 people, I still wanna interact,
right.
like,
True.
it's more about the conversation that I care
Yep.
about and, like, what we're talking about, so,
Yep.
yeah,
I'm with you
totally
there.
agree with what you're saying, though.
Yeah.
Well, do you wanna see this
Let's do
hacky
it.
thing I kinda threw together and
Yeah.
hopefully we can keep working on? Let's see here.
Yeah, I am super excited.
Hopefully this view is okay.
For if you're asking me, yeah, I can see. I don't
Okay,
know how
let's
people in the
let's
audience feel.
let's pop open. Yeah, folks. Brittany, by the way, if you want to join, I'll send you the link. I don't know what you're doing.
Bring
I hear
Brittany
you have
on.
rocks going around the pool today. So
That's what I love about StreamYard is sending out a link like real time and anybody like
yeah,
whoever you send it to can join.
that's been my biggest challenge with other services.
Mhm.
It's been a comment to all of them too that I've tried. I'm like, I need this ease. Like I
Yeah.
don't even want to log in. So
Yep. Absolutely.
whatever that means.
Right there with you.
How about folks? Just let me know if you can or cannot see this code very well. I have it ginormous on my screen to the point where it's rough to look at. So we'll see.
I can see it good on mine for what it's worth.
Awesome, cool. So the main page. Let's talk like overall, like the big thought here. So the idea is on Twitter. I keep screwing up Twitter and Twitch in my head. On Twitter, on your profile page, I love to like interact with anyone that's kind of following me. And there's this cool banner that's made by Blackmagic. So shout out Blackmagic. I use you now. I hope this isn't taking away too much from you. It's just a fun idea. So what they can allow you to do now is put like all this text on, and then they dynamically. So if people you want to use this right now, any emoji that's used to like chat with me will pop up on the side over here, and it
Is that chat
refreshes.
from like any tweet? Like any tweet that people respond to you with
Yeah,
or
so I
tag you in?
think I finally figured out I can't do it because I tried like updating this a bunch. But
Okay.
if you tweet at me right now and put like a rocket ship in there, it will show up in the, like, the next 30 seconds because there's, like, a 30-second refresh to update the image. And then anyone who follows me, same thing, the followers will come in. So great idea. I think it's super cool. And I think we can do it with AppWrite. And
Hmm.
I've started to like somewhat get there. And I
Hmm.
wanted to chat with James about it because he's been digging
We were
into
doing the
AppWrite.
exact same thing.
Yeah.
Because
And
I was
then,
like, I was like, check out this wonderful, amazing, unique idea I have, and Alex is like, I'm already doing that.
no, it's incredible. So we can do it together. It'll be fun.
Yes, tag teaming.
Um, that's really funny. So, as far as I've gotten, currently writing this on Next.js, I think the more I use it, I don't need static as much. So, we're probably going to
Hmm.
push this over to Remix. It just seems like the right area to be in, especially grabbing like all the cool error boundaries and form submissions and all that stuff. So, I'll probably pivot that hopefully soon. I was going to do it last night and got totally off on a different tangent for work. So,
Happens.
um, basic page, we'll just start here. So Next.js, you have pages in that become your routes. I can see it. Good. Perfect. Woohoo. Awesome. That was good to know. So if you haven't used Next.js, hopefully many of you have amazing product. We're on its 12th version, 12.2 added some really cool middleware stuff. So definitely check that out as well. Um, which switched some things around, James. If you haven't checked it out, they went general GA with the 12.2 release of middleware.
Yeah,
Changed quite a bit.
I'm not super on top of that. I just watched James Perkins has a video. I'll put a link in the chat
Oh,
on the
nice.
updates
Awesome.
that
Yeah.
he just released this morning. So I'll watch that really briefly, but I haven't been like super in tune with it. So I need to spend
Cool.
some time.
Yeah. Shout out to Learn, Build, Teach peeps. So this page, all this is doing right now is showing this welcome DevRel social. It usually would if you were actually logged in. So let's talk about that a minute. The cool thing with AppWrite, I've started to create this hooks library for them. Similar, so a
Yeah.
very similar thing that again, we're trying to kind of go feature to feature with Firebase. Full
Hmm.
disclosure, I'm a Firebase GD, love Firebase, just a
Oh, you
different
are?
product.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
And when we kind of dive into this, there's an amazing product, also written by the Firebase team, and they call it React Fire, and that is their hooks package that they have out there. So if you're ever using Firebase and you're using it in React, definitely check out. I'm totally gonna mess this up, so I'll just search for it. It's extended. I always mess that part up. So it's in the Firebase extended package under React Fire. Um, my good friend Jeff, who sent me Sparky, wrong side. I always mess up Sparky over here. That's the Firebase mascot. Super hard to get. Thank you again, Jeff. So Jeff is kind of the main maintainer, and James Daniels, both on the Firebase team. They created this. I think David East had a big part in it too. But long story. Sorry, I'm like rambling on about this package. What we basically want to do, I think, for AppWrite to make it really a nice contender. Yes, everybody. Uh, that's funny. I got to put that up. He cracks me up so much. Everybody. I feel like I need that GIF right now.
Reminds
Everybody,
me of
clap your.
middle school for that or something, maybe.
I was thinking high school, but maybe I'm old. I don't know.
Maybe we're slightly different
I
ages, but
turned
it
the
may have
dick
been high school too. I
40
don't know.
next year, so
Oh yeah, yeah. You're a few years. I'm 31,
nice.
so a few years difference. But
Yeah, wait till the gray gets in there, James. It'll be
I don't.
awesome.
You may not be able to see it on the small screen, but I've got a few. My wife makes sure to remind me of that too, so that's good.
Okay, so yeah, React hooks, React Fire is the Firebase equivalent. The cool part on the AppWrite side, we have SQL database underneath. So there's MariaDB that's under there. We can do MongoDB. There's a release coming out pretty soon. Hint, hint, probably in the next week. 16 will be dropping with some cool features that will end up in it. Long-term goal, we can support any database. So it's basically an abstraction layer. So I kind of got too far into the database side. So let me back up a minute here and go back to the code. So this hooks library is one that I am creating just in this project. Sorry, But we're going to dive into it further, I think, and really build out a nice hooks library to do all of this, just like that React Fire one.
Oh, that's
Because
cool.
I
Yeah.
think it's super necessary in doing this stuff for React because it's
It's just
difficult,
what people
man.
are used to. Yeah.
React State is just, ugh, no
It
one wants to
is.
deal with it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, as we kind of look through this, that first one here. So if folks, if you're not used to hooks yet, basically what I'm doing here is saying out of this hook, I want to check this user and this I don't know why I call it DRS, but DevRel social account. So I'll have to probably clean up some things there. When I look at user, essentially that is the user right there that we're capturing in state once you get logged in. In order to look at set user, let's go ahead and find this in here. So there's a couple effects that occur. Basically, once our account session is created, we then go fetch the account itself and set that to the user. So that's all like the behind the scenes and why I want to get hooks because no one wants to write all that, right? um, it's the facial hair. I think that's why my wife likes the facial hair. She gets to see the gray in me. I don't know. It's
Hmm.
weird. Um, so yeah, so what we have here essentially on the hook side is just the ability to grab a user. So right now I am logged out, and I'll walk you through on the app right side what this looks like as we log in. So I'm going to click login. I'm going to cross my fingers. This actually works because I keep breaking it. So
That's all. That's
James
all
might know
zero.
that. Yeah, you probably know that logo, right?
Yeah.
Something about it. Okay. So let me start here. Auth0 is one of the providers that AppWrite supports. So,
Okay.
wow, this is really bright. I know there's a dark mode. I just don't see the button. There we go. Oh, jeez. How's that? Is that harder, easier to see? Hopefully. Hopefully.
Especially when you zoom in, that's perfect. Yeah, that's
Okay,
good.
cool. Because it's burning my eyes when it's white. Um, I can't keep up with Anthony's
Hmm.
the wittiness over here. Okay, so once I dive in, so I've created my AppWrite project out in our console. I have DevRel social set up. 2,000 requests. That's frightening. Something's going on there. um, when I dive in here, we're probably going to restructure this because we feel like users is kind of weird when you start to head down this. So users make sense when you're looking at users, but this is also where the authentication setup is too. So it's a little confusing. We might start to call this authentication instead of just
Hmm.
users or something like that. So right here we have Auth0 set up. If I won't even go into the Auth0 side, James, you want to give it like the 2 minute, here's a social provider or OAuth2 provider speech?
Sure. Yeah, so it's gonna go through like the redirect process. So from your app, you're actually gonna redirect or send the user over to the Auth0 domain. The authentication is gonna happen on the Auth0 domain. Auth0 then is gonna call back to your application, and behind the scenes, there's some magical token thingies to be able to verify that that login process was successful, and then you'll actually have that user inside of the app.
Nice. Well said. One thing I need to update on this one, I'm not getting the email from Twitter because they have a weird like you got to request it the right way type of thing. So something we'll have
Yes,
to
there's
work
something
on.
additional. Yeah. Yep.
I think it's scopes or something we have to add. But
Hmm.
anyways, so I'll click on the continue with Twitter for now. Oh, good. Um, hmm. Maybe I'll continue with Google because that didn't look very good.
Um, so that would, if
That
it's
was weird.
specifically, yeah, if it's specifically happening with Twitter, then like the callback URL registered inside of Twitter is probably misconfigured. Has it worked before?
It has, but I've been messing around with, session keys and callbacks, so
Okay.
maybe I should fix that? I don't
Yeah.
know. We can probably
Maybe.
skip for now. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. I would.
think
Yeah.
we'll see. I might really
Yep.
mess this up. It might be bad, but okay. So now that we're in, now you get the welcome to DevRel Social, which is in the Next.js app over here. And then you also get this Alex Devrel, which I don't know why it's Alex Devrel, but whatever. I have no idea where that's coming from. That is in our user account that came back from Auth0. And the next step, we want to go into our Twitter space here. So, because even if we would have logged in with Twitter, that's just access to our application. So, this
Mhm.
gets a little confusing.
That's where you separate
I feel like this needs
OIDC
to be a
versus
meme of some sort. Like,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I
geez,
can't
the
either.
the life of the show.
Oh, yes. Um, oh yeah, I forgot to talk about like dropping tags and stuff. Anthony knows about this, I believe. So, for those new to the channel, I'm trying to mess around with StreamYard and Twitch at the same time, which is challenging, but
And you got OBS running too.
and through OBS, it's
You got a
frustrating.
whole you got a whole thing, yeah.
So, once you're a subscriber, like many of you who are listening are, you can drop things onto us like this. I hope works. We'll see. Again, challenging to see these things as everything's going on, but hopefully that stuff works. Anyways, okay, back to the app. Have I lost you yet, James? I hope not.
I'm good. Also, if you check your banner on Twitter, you mentioned Rocket. The Rocket made it in there.
Oh,
So
nice.
you're
Let's take a
welcome.
look.
You're welcome.
Rocket is there. See, I didn't refresh Twitter either. That's the really cool part.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how
So
how
so
does
we'll get into this.
Twitter
We'll get into this. It's kinda cool because we're actually using the Twitter API to update our profile banner, and that's
right.
what's doing that.
But you didn't press refresh on that
Nothing.
page?
I didn't press it.
Like, even if you changed it well, is Twitter then doing its own polling to see if the image
Yep.
behind the scenes has changed?
Yeah, and I don't
I'm
know if it's
surprised they would do
WebSocket or
that.
polling, but
Okay. Yeah.
it's impressive. It's like,
Okay.
well, we can get into it further. It's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
cool.
Okay.
Okay. So, while we were talking about authentication, did authentication, we're gonna call this authorization at this. Close your DMs. Oh no, I probably should. My bad. Thank you.
Where'd you show DMs?
My bad. My bad. Let me scooch this off for a minute and close those down. Thank you, Anthony. My bad. Ooh, yikes. Um, hopefully there wasn't too much vulgar language or
Hashtag live
secrets.
streaming. Y'all can
Uh,
see my DMs. They're fine.
Mine are mostly fine. I mean, just asking Scott for stuff. It's okay. Okay. So we are authenticated into our app. I don't know why I just clicked that again. That was not good. Let's go back. What is this thing? I've never seen that. That was weird.
I didn't
Okay.
see it. I don't know if I saw it.
There's like a red icon in Auth0. I've never seen that. That was weird. Okay. So now what we're gonna do, and this might go by a little quick because I'm already logged in.
Unintended.
But when I click access, this is instead of the authentication, we're gonna hit the authorization endpoint in Twitter.
Okay. Is that
Uh,
uh, getting the access token? So what are you trying to do with with Twitter?
so Twitter, we need to grab access token so that we can write to our API for the
Oh, to be able to
user,
write to okay, gotcha.
for that
Yeah.
user themselves. Um, hmm, that's fun and interesting, and I think we might need to figure out my Twitter login because this works with Twitter no problem.
Yeah, so
So let's figure this out real quick.
I would have param code is not optional.
So let me open up Auth0 real quick. I have a
Now,
feeling.
so one question I have, doesn't AppWrite have like a Twitter set up
So
directly?
we don't because they currently, and I think this still holds true. They don't support auth or OAuth 2. So they just started kind of
Oh.
supporting it via their API 2 version,
Mhm.
but they don't do it for the rest. And so that's kind of challenging for us.
Okay.
So that's why I kind of went through Auth0 for this.
Gotcha.
Hopefully that makes sense. It's kind of
Yeah.
weird. We do have a PR out there for it for sure, and that is the comment on there right now is they don't offer it. So
So I
yeah,
don't know that this is true, but I would have thought to do what you're trying to do, you would have had to log in with your Twitter account and not Google first.
so the interesting part on let me back up, and that's probably where I'm trying not to lose everybody because it's a little confusing. When we're logging in here, we're just logging into my application on AppRite, which
Hmm.
just ignore, like, that doesn't have anything to do with the next part, if that makes sense. Because we're
Hmm.
gonna later on do LinkedIn and Facebook and all of the socials past that. So this login is just getting us in to my
Yep.
app. And then past that, what we have to do is grab access tokens for all of the social providers. I can no
Right.
longer see
And
the
you're sending. Don't you have to send something to Twitter that comes back from Auth0 to then be able to get the Twitter access token?
no, because we're going directly to Twitter in that case, to grab it. So essentially, I'm saying I can show you the code. Let's look at the code. It'll make more sense.
Okay.
So let's go here. I moved off the code because I was thinking we are gonna look at environment variables, which that's when the secrets get really
Hmm.
exposed.
Right.
Okay, so after we go from this page, we're gonna go into the Twitter page. So here is the Twitter page. And when we are here, this is kind of the key that you're talking about right now, this redirect portion. So this gets a little wild. So stick with me on this a minute. It's kind of crazy. So the button that we're clicking inside of here, sorry for all the errors. Let me just log in this way. We'll figure out that Twitter thing in a moment. So this button right here, what this is going to actually do when I click this, it's actually going to go up to here to this redirect. And we're going to hit our first Next.js function. Now I wanted to write this in AppWrite, but we currently don't support redirects in our functions. So we had a whole discussion with the engineering team about why we need these things. So we'll get there. But for now, just trust me. This is in Next.js. So
And the
we're
JWT, is that the JWT that comes back from Auth0, or does AppWrite
yeah.
do its own JWT?
Oh, yeah, good question. This is the JWT from AppWrite. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you're sending, I
So
don't know.
I don't know if this is fully secure. We can talk more about it though.
I just don't know what that JWT is going to mean to Twitter.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't mean anything. So let's keep talking.
Okay.
So so when I click this button, let me actually show the button. How about that? Please log in. Where is it? Where is it? Add Twitter access. So on that add Twitter access, which is this button, we're going to do an on click to the redirect. The redirect is going to say, okay, grab window location href because we might be on our global or on our domain or on localhost. Right now we're on localhost. And then add API Twitter to it.
Oh,
And
that's your backend endpoint.
exactly.
Gotcha.
So we're in here. We're going to hit our Twitter endpoint right here and index. So this is the first call we're making. I jump over into a library. That's not a big deal, but this is the actual code we go through. So with that JWT, we're gonna actually take and check this JWT and make sure it is one that is in AppWrite. I'm not doing that very well in this code, so please ignore it. I'm literally right now just checking to make sure a JWT exists. So it's not production ready. Let's just say that. Past that, though, the reason that we need this parsed JWT is this actually has our user ID in it. And so when we actually continue down the path here, what we're doing right now is we're creating an OAuth request token. And this part is the interesting part when we go over to the Twitter side. So when we call that on the Twitter side, it's going to pass in all of, and James, you probably know this better than anybody else. So this token that goes over is kind of that request side of it. And then on the Twitter side, we're actually hitting their authorize endpoint and saying, hey, I need to authorize this user for like read and write purposes for an API. And then when it comes back, we have to do another call to get our access token. So first we ask for it, it comes back, and then we do the access token side. And I'll walk you through how that works on Twitter too. So at this point, right now we've set up the call to go over, and we can look at that through. I think this will work if we do a network redirect. Let's not go mobile. This might be a little small, so let me bump this up. And I apologize if I'm losing anybody. Please feel free. Questions. What's Anthony? Is there a link to that list somewhere?
Oh, providers that
Oh yeah.
Upgrade has.
There was a link to it.
I think it was in just like the
Yeah, it's in the
users
console,
docs
but
page.
I don't know if there's a like a list out here. Guides.
I think I
don't know.
referenced
I
this
don't know
in
that
my
for an answer. I apologize on that one, but you definitely, if you have the console up and going, you can see them all, and I can get you a list. I'll throw one out there later. Oh, Brandon's got it. Sweet. We should have just had Brandon on with us. 40 OAuth 2 providers. Let's see what else Brandon has said. I'm sorry, I'm really behind on chat. Will the code be available at the end? This is an open source project that I'm going to continue running. So we're just showing off DevRel Social, which will be a thing one day. And the code's all out there, folks. If you want to hang out and check it out, it's not the best. So yeah, that's true. It isn't too late. Let's do it right now. Brandon, if you're not busy, I'm about to send you the StreamYard link.
again the benefits of StreamYard.
I know it's fantastic, isn't it? I've already warned James of this, and I have a feeling we're gonna go long already. So we'll have to call it quits eventually. But my internet provider is swapping out our fiber, so at some point I'm gonna have to stop because I won't have internet. But
Because they will tear it out.
yeah, which I still don't understand because I'm going from business back to residential, and I'm like, it's still fiber. Just switch it. Oh, that's a nightmare. Anyways, okay, so this could get weird because I don't know why it's failing right now, but we'll take a look. So I'm gonna click Add Twitter Access. It's gonna do that whole redirect thing. You ready? I got preserve logon. Okay, so we pretty much immediately, you know what? This is coming from mine. I didn't realize that. So API Twitter is errors, could not authenticate you. I am guessing this is probably some bad code I have out here.
Where in there do you return a 401?
That's a great question. I don't even remember. I wonder if this is coming out of the OAuth directly. Because this is a package that I'm using, the old OAuth package. Just again, because Twitter is OAuth and not OAuth 2 and all that fun stuff. I am surprised. Status code 401 data errors message could not authenticate. That is very interesting that we're getting that so soon. Redirect. This is where I expect us to be headed, by the way. I might have to put some console logs in because I've had a hard time actually hitting breakpoints in Next.js unless others know how to
Yeah,
do
I've
it.
never done that.
It's really rough.
Like you're not doing any validation on the JWT
Yeah,
right there, which
not really. Like this is just intended to get the user and pass that along. So this parsed JWT ends up further down here. I think this is actually failing in here. So here we can actually, we'll do this console.log parsed. As folks, 15 years later, I'm still console logging things.
I think we all are.
So let's click that button again. No, that failed further up, apparently. Well, that's mighty interesting.
It failed before I got there.
Yeah. Am I in the right? That's the callback. This is the initial. Here, I'm just gonna put like console.log and type hello James. Make sure it actually hits something. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's the initial. Okay.
Did it log out the James part?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, here's the user ID. I totally missed it before. Okay.
Oh, so that's the parse JWT that you have there.
Yeah. So that's your user ID, or not yours, my user ID for my Google account in AppWrite.
hmm
Um, boy, this
So
is
it is
really,
making it down to the get OAuth request token.
yeah. So it's right here where it's failing. Why?
Where is that coming from? That's the OAuth package that you.
Yeah, that's the OAuth package. I'm wondering if this this is always like demo, right? Like I had all this working last night and now nothing works. I feel
Okay.
like a key changed somewhere here. I think
Maybe do you
I
want to show us your environment variable with all your
that's
secret credentials?
I was gonna for a minute just go back to this view for a second and just double check. I want to make sure.
So you create the new OAuth thing with those configurations.
I
And
have
then
so
you
many
say
tokens. Auth zero
get
secrets. Facebook stuff for
user
the
token
other side of it.
your user secret. Yeah, I'm a little confused as to how this package works.
So it should be my Twitter API key and Twitter API secret. Let me just double check. API key, API secret. Let
And
me,
on the
you know what?
npm
Screw it.
package,
I'll just regenerate them. This is good for people to see. Okay.
noted. Thank
Yes,
you.
write these down, folks. Um, so what we're doing here on that OAuth package right here. Um, Basically, this OAuth, what we're saying is we need to go to the API twitter.com for their OAuth request and then the access token after that. What we need to feed into it is Twitter API key and Twitter API secret. This is the API key and the API secret currently. Let's stroll on out to developer Twitter.
Can you see your previous one or do you have to regenerate them?
I don't think you can see it. I'm just going to regenerate and
Yeah.
then
Okay.
later forget and do this all over once again.
hmm
Okay, so we've got the which one? Coding Cat Twitter banner. We started out calling it that. We'll have to switch that name eventually. Um, DevRel Social. We're
Did I
here.
lose you?
That was weird. Can you hear me still, James?
Yeah, I
Oh,
can now. I
okay.
lost you for a second, I think.
My bad.
Under settings, I think, at the top. Like in the middle of the page at the top, if you scroll up.
Oh, thank you. I swear
Or
you
maybe
click on
not. Never
the.
mind.
I think you click on the app first and select it, right? And like manage app. Nope.
I think you can click the app on the sidebar on the left. Are those the apps listed under the project up there? Like the DevRel Social is the project, and then you've got apps underneath.
Yeah, I'm used to seeing. I wonder if I'm logged in. No, I'm the right person. Owned by CodeCat Dev. What the
Sounds
heck?
like a meta question.
I swear there's usually like a little settings button right there. What the hell am I missing? There's usually like an OAuth thing. AppWrite JWTs only last 15 minutes also. Oh, well, that's good to know. That's probably part of what's screwing me up.
So do they have
Why?
like
Why?
refresh tokens then, Brandon, in place?
Yeah,
I would
we
assume they
do
have
have
to be.
we do have refresh. No, I don't want to log out. That is the right account. Hmm. Where is all the OAuth stuff? This is just silly now. Oh, I just saw it. There we go. Well, that's one of them, but that's not it. That's what it usually looks like.
Mhm. And that's how I don't know the difference. Like at one point they started requiring projects and apps nested underneath them or something. I can't remember.
It's weird. Let me log into the coding cat account and make sure that's not the problem. That sure enough was the problem. Okay. I guess I no, it's still not right. Um, it's this one, which is owned by CoderCat Dev. It should look like this, James. This is what it usually has on it.
Yeah.
That's bizarre. Like,
It's tagged as staging. I don't know what.
yeah, it's always been that way. Just because it doesn't take up another app. But let me switch back to CoderCat. Refresh the screen. That is so weird. I don't get that. Did something literally change last night on Twitter and it's like
And
throwing
if you
all
click
of this.
manage, it just allows you to delete the app.
Yeah, I could, I guess, start all over with it.
Seems
I don't really want to.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
If you go to dev environments, maybe scroll down a little bit. A little bit
On the
more
main
on the
page,
left side on
on
the
the left
sidebar.
side, this one.
Yeah. I don't even know anything about
Th-
environments. I've
This has
never
changed so much.
like it's not a good look for them either if like it's this hard to find what you're looking for.
I'm just like thinking like access was messed up when I can see this app. You know what? I this was super hard to set up the first time, but maybe we should just try it. I guess. Yeah, see, this was the hard part to make sure it was right. Boy, this is super frustrating. Um, I am Coder Cat. Let's try this. I guess we could set the production one and see how this goes. Completely out of order. Let's just do it this way. James Devrel. That way I'll remember.
We
Have your own Devrel now.
I am Devrel.
Okay, so this is the interesting part. When you set this up this way, um, this API key and everything you would think would be the correct one, and maybe it is. Maybe I just mess this up every time. But this is not the OAuth settings, which is interesting. So let me go over here. See this right here? OAuth 2 and 1.0 are authentication methods. That's not actually set up yet. So then you have to go through this and at least this, but most likely we'll need both of these. I think we were rolling that way. Eventually we'll need this. This is the fun part for the callback URIs, and I feel like this is what changed. So we'll need a local host 3000. No. And there's see this is the interesting part because the authentication mechanism was for our AppWrite login, but the authorization endpoints are not, and that's the tricky part on all of this. So because we're in the authentication ones, this is the auth 0 portion of this. Does that make sense?
I understand what you're distinguishing. I'm not sure if I know
The fun part is how long it
where.
took to figure all this out.
Yeah. So you're saying that should be the Auth0 URL?
I believe so, and I wish I could show you the old you know what? I'm just gonna do this again. Let's delete this. It's fun watching people fumble around. Sorry, folks. Just it's really worrying me that, like, when I go and I can't log in,
Mhm.
that tells me, like, something changed on Twitter side, right? Yeah, the fact so let's look at, like, a normal one, I guess. Too many accounts, too little time. So here's what this one looks like, and then here is the authentication setup. So I don't get it. Look at all these old apps I have. This is ridiculous.
Oh, nice. Wow.
There's the Coding Cat one. So Coding Cat's set up to use this through Firebase login. So it works the same way. I don't know. Maybe you're right, James. On like maybe this was killed somehow because of being in staging so long or something.
I don't know. I also haven't. I've never done the get an access token back from Twitter before. I've never done that piece.
Mm, yep. That's straight through their API. We could talk about it, I guess, since I've been fumbling around for probably 20 minutes and not getting anywhere. Or we can try to just create a new app and go from there. What do you think? I feel like people might get more out of it if we create a new app.
Yeah, I say go for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not. This is just part of the Twitter dashboard that I haven't done
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, it's all good. Um, I don't like that this is down here. I don't want to break my production app, so I think I'll just leave all of this alone and we'll call this something new. So let's go here and do a new
Doesn't
project.
that seem? I feel like the Twitter dashboard has always like never been intuitive.
It's
Like
not intuitive at
the
all.
idea of projects and apps in theory makes sense, but from a layout perspective, never made sense. And I couldn't figure out how to create like one or the other. And it like, are you looking for how to create a new project in Twitter?
Yes.
Yeah, and that I don't understand how that's not a very obvious thing.
Yeah, it should be like here.
Maybe you can only have one as a free account. I'm not sure.
No, is that true? Maybe.
I have no idea. That's a complete guess.
I don't know why I would have named it DevRel Social either. Um, 3 environments per project, about projects. I'm missing all these chats. What's going on? Twitter redirect should be in the app URL. Yeah. Yeah, we have all the Twitter stuff correct.
What's
So what
up?
Brandon's talking about, let's just review this with people. So what's happening on our redirects and stuff like that in Auth0, what we have set up, this is our Auth0 OAuth2 settings. And if we jump over to Auth0, we go to, this is a little goofy in Auth0 too. I was a little surprised. So there's actually applications, and we have our, if it loads, our DevRel social application. That application actually needs a social login though. So in authentication, you go to social,
Mhm. To
and
enable
this
Twitter.
is where we enabled those. So in Twitter, we have our one application enabled. I don't think if I do this from here, this works. Yeah, I don't know why, but that never worked, which was interesting.
I'm not sure either.
So then you assign this because it has, let me go through this, I guess. So this is our Twitter consumer API and secret, which could be part of the problem. Just the fact I can't see them on Twitter is a little frustrating. So I don't know. Um, so that's where this connection is to AppWrite. So if I back up just one more step to applications. So this is our application app that AppWrite, too many A's, that AppWrite is connecting to. So AppWrite says, okay, I am using codingcatdev.us.auth0.com. That is this application right here. When we hit that first screen and it says, do you want to log in with Twitter or Google? That's Auth0 saying, I want to give you these social providers to log in through. Auth0 then calls out to those. When it comes back, it says, "Yep, you're good," and passes that back to AppWrite. I can't remember what they call that. Not three-legged, but there's
There is three-legged auth
yeah, which that's what we're doing with the
with
access token
yeah.
inside, but this is called third party, but it's not social. I can't remember what Auth0 is considered in this case.
It's weird because there's a chain
Yeah.
of stuff here, like from application. So when you configure Auth0,
Mhm.
what's the callback URL that you have in there? Is that back to your application or back to
Yeah, so this goes to Auth0.
that's going back to your
Sorry, to
that's
AppWrite.
going back
Too
to
many
AppWrite.
A's.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so in Auth0, our redirect, and again, this is for that top level button again. So
Mhm.
this is stuff I was playing around with last night, which might be causing part of a problem. So let me take this out for a second, just see. That was the one change I made last night.
It shouldn't that's
That
just
shouldn't
an
matter.
allowed
Yeah,
or a list of allowed redirect URLs. So as long as you didn't tell it to redirect
right. So it should be good
to
there. And
yeah.
then F or the 4B here should match over here. So 4B. And this is working because it's working with our Google login. There's just something up with our Twitter login. So if I go over to our social connectors, that's where the breakdown probably is in Twitter. So if I go into our Twitter social, now we have to tell Twitter which consumer API secret and consumer API key we're actually using. And that's where this comes into play. Um,
So you're gonna register a new app? Is that what we're
If I can, I guess, but the only one it allows me to do is production now. That's the weird part.
I've never even dealt with staging and I didn't know that was the thing
Oh,
in this
really?
environment. Yeah,
Okay.
I've never done that.
I'm kind of more apt to just kill this.
Kill it.
Boom.
Kill, kill, kill.
Oh, it's a lot of keys we're gonna have to do. All right, here we go. All
Or
right.
I need to set up my like Twitch chat bot thing for like well, I don't have my light set up either, but for like people to change my VS Code theme and other random things, and I haven't. And
Yeah.
one of the things I'll have to figure out is where those environment variables are that I set up a long time ago. I think I've got little trick is I keep like notes in LastPass, so I'll throw environment
Mm,
variables. Like I'll just copy my
same.
.env files in there and then
Yep.
bring them down when I need them.
That's the same thing I do too.
Nice.
So yeah, we'll expose everything here.
So this is a brand new app with a key and a secret. And you said this earlier. I always forget. Is that the same as the um what's the other name that they use? Client
Oh yeah.
key and secret? Is that
Yep.
the same thing? So
Yeah,
API
client
key.
yeah, client API key, and there's one other one that they use too, and it throws me off every
And I've
time.
never understood why they're named differently. But
Yeah. So here's all of our freaking secrets, which are amazing. So the interesting part out here, this is not where we're adding those, by the way.
right.
Um,
This is the stuff that goes back to Auth0.
but the interesting thing is that these keys, again, I don't believe these are the same. So we'll copy these down and we'll see how this goes. So I'm just gonna create a new file and put these in here for a minute. So this is let me grab these at least. Because there's more than those. So you'll see down here, like I grabbed a bunch of different ones because there's it's
Trying to
super
figure out what you
confusing.
need. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going through and resetting something up with Twitter recently, and I forgot. Oh gosh, I couldn't get it for like an hour with the credentials, and then it turned out I can't remember what it was. It was something so stupid. Like I had an extra slash or space or something when I was copying and pasting something, like something really
Oh,
ridiculous, and I was so
nice.
frustrated.
Let's see here. So let's go to app settings next because I think this is the actually so that was all API related keys, is my understanding now. Now what we actually have to do is this is the actual OAuth setup for this. So when we turn these on, do single page app.
And you
Um,
can actually do this as you're actually doing this as a web app in this
yeah,
case.
that's what I was just thinking. It's a web app. Okay.
Yeah.
And then
Did you finish?
that's
Did you finish the Auth0 part, by the way,
so I think we have to do this part for the Auth0 part.
or Auth0?
I believe so.
Okay,
Because
yeah.
this will produce OAuth keys
Well,
for us.
see, and I don't know where the difference.
I don't either.
I don't know where it differentiates between OIDC and OAuth.
Yes,
I'm
that's a struggle for me too.
if you
Ooh,
so
red logo.
go through
Oh,
the setup guide if you don't mind. Like, click
yeah,
on the setup guide there
yeah, let's do that.
inside of maybe it's installation.
Is that not the right?
Um, you could also so they have a setup. I'm pointing at my screen like you can see, and the top right ish, like up a little bit
Oh,
over.
here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, it's not that
Um,
big. It's also covered on the stream by
ugh,
your.
I wish I could push
I feel
that
like you can get to a full. Oh,
something
there
like
you
that.
go.
But syncs profile, blah blah blah. Optionally disable. That doesn't tell me much.
Okay. Apply for a Twitter developer
Did
account.
that.
Got it. Create a project and a new app. During this process, Twitter will generate your API key and your API secret key for your application. We
Okay,
already have those.
so we do have those.
And then you update, then you give it the
Callback. This is the domain part. So
Mhm.
that's this guy.
Yeah, your stuff is really confusing for me because I've never used Auth0 on top of something else like AppWrite. So there's this difference of like
Yeah.
the JWT that comes back from Auth0, I think is like not even useful because then you translate that to a JWT and AppWrite. And then
Right.
where the callback URLs and stuff go, I'm not 100% sure with this like
Let's
two
see.
extra things for me. But
Website URL. I don't even know if that matters so much. I don't know why it would.
so did you already paste in the callback URL,
Yes, I
the one
did.
above? So I
Um,
don't.
oh, that's the wrong one though.
Yeah, that's not right.
Should say coding kit.
It should be, yeah, it should be your domain.
Let me go back to my apps. Let's pop that open over here. I keep having to open it.
Um,
So
Auth0 is kind of annoying in the dashboard. I believe if you have two pages open and you change pages, or maybe it's if you change projects, they change the projects altogether. I can't remember. There was
okay.
something.
I think I'm okay. I was doing this before, so
Okay,
I think we're okay.
cool.
Okay, so we're bouncing around way too much, but this is the callback URL.
And is it just? I think there's something at the end. If you
Ooh,
if you
let's
go back to
yeah, let's
the
close that. I don't
guide
need that.
and
Sorry,
looking
keep
at,
closing the
yeah.
guide. Ah, yes,
So slash login slash callback, yeah.
cool. That,
And website URL is just like metadata, so that is like
yeah.
kind of whatever you want to put in.
Okay, so this client ID and secret. Now we're in business, and this is where it gets interesting, right? So now instead of API key, I actually have Twitter client key. All right. Oops. Twitter client secret, right? Got that. We got that. Cool. Now we're going to take those values back into Auth0,
Yeah.
update this, make this a little bigger for everybody. That. Oh, didn't get the whole thing. Oh my gosh, is there a dash? That can't
It
be.
is at the beginning. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah, I
gosh,
noticed that when you pasted it and I looked
that's
to
the
double check.
worst.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna save that. So theoretically, and this says this over here, I still don't believe it. I should be able to log in now using this try connection. Yeah, I always got that before too.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't know why that is set up that way. It's weird. So
I'm not
I
sure.
don't trust that at all. Just
Yeah.
FYI. It took me way too many hours to realize I didn't trust that. Um, so at that point, we should have, yeah, okay. So this Twitter social login for Auth0 should be set up to our new Twitter app under our project.
And you have Auth0 redirecting back to AppWrite.
And then that's
You
the
send
That's the application part. So this application with this client ID should already be this client ID, this client
Yeah.
secret, all that should be good.
Yeah.
So at that point, all of this, let's see, am I missing anything? We got a
So you'll
yo,
need,
got a yep, nice.
did you copy those environment variables back into the main.env file in the
Not
application there?
yet, not
Okay.
yet. Yep. So realistically, the only thing that we do on our login button, so let's go take a quick peek at that. It shouldn't even matter for this part because we're just kind of redirecting on that. So layout has link somewhere for login. Okay. So this is kind of the interesting part. Again, this is coming from our hooks and then create session, and where that actually comes in. Oh man, it's in our hooks library. Hang on. We passed that in. I'm still terrible with so that's right here. So DRS account has create sessions. Okay. So this is our actual call for AppWrite that we're hitting. So we're going to say create an OAuth 2 session with auth0, and this is where our redirect's going to go. So that's it. Like none of my environment variables should matter, although we will update them because this is just on the AppWrite side of the house. Does that make sense?
So that's how you,
So
so
that's
that function,
only this login right here. So that's this one.
okay.
That's so weird that that's the second time I've seen this.
Oh, you're probably using Google because Auth0 gives you Google by default.
Oh,
Auth0 is set
gotcha.
up using test credentials with Google, so it makes it nice for you to be able to test it out. But that means that you haven't actually entered, like you haven't done the same process you did for Twitter with Google.
Gotcha. Totally. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so let's try continue with Twitter. Cross our fingers. Oh boy,
But that also,
that's
so
weird.
there's a difference. By the time there's a difference here of getting back to this page versus, oh, so this is actually an AppWrite page though.
Correct. Yeah. So we're coming back to account sessions OAuth 2 callback.
Did you say you ever got this to work?
Yeah, this was working last night. I started messing around with comparing it with Firebase and updated some things, and I definitely shouldn't have. So, um, I feel like there's one little thing missing, and I can't remember what it is. Like a redirect somewhere.
So you can specify. Are you sure you're sending? Like if you go back to configuration and code, so you have
Oh,
two things
goodness.
in. Please set up a redirection
Did
to
we
your
do
author.
that? Oh, I don't think we did that.
You had something in there. I don't think you had that whole thing. I don't think.
Um,
Maybe is that what
wait,
that is there?
hang on. Are we in the right DevRel social? Yes.
Yeah.
Where'd it go? I'm just gonna paste it. It should be that.
Yeah. So say that. And then the other thing is you also have to configure that inside of, this is telling Auth0, here are the places that you're allowed to call back to. From
Mhm.
your application code, you also have to tell it when you leave where to come back to.
I
So
think we're
either,
I think we're doing that right here, and that's why I think the thing we just deleted had localhost on it, but I'm not sure.
the thing in the
Down
thing in
here, like
Auth0,
that.
so those are just lists of places it can go back to. It's not telling Auth0 where to go back to.
Okay.
I don't think that would have stopped it. But make sure you save that also at the bottom.
Do you want me to save it this way or this way?
Just trying to get stuff work. I would just only do the stuff that you
Okay,
need. So I would do that one for
let's do
now.
that.
The thing that I am not sure of. So back in the code that you're calling, you've got you're saying create OAuth 2 session. That's an API from AppWrite. Is that right?
Correct. Yep.
So you're calling that from AppWrite. You're telling it to use the Auth0 provider.
Yep.
I guess AppWrite on its own server. So when are you redirecting to AppWrite first? You
So
have to be.
right. So this goes and hits AppWrite with
Uh-huh.
this call, and then AppWrite is going to go to Auth0, which
Mm-hmm.
we get that far, right? Because then we get our login page.
Yep.
We then hit Twitter. It goes out to Twitter and logs in, and when it should be then on its way back. So it goes Twitter, you're good. Pass that to Auth0. Auth0
Auth0
says you're
too.
good. Pass that back to the hosted version of AppWrite.
Mm-hmm. And I guess so. The one thing I'm missing that I think AppWrite, the server, not the client SDK, is taking care of is when you tell this to go to AppWrite initially, AppWrite is then going to call Auth0 and tell Auth0 where to redirect back to.
Yep.
Like that redirect URL, you don't have to have in your code because you're sending to
Right.
AppWrite kind of not willy nilly, but like without much more detail than just use Auth0.
Yeah, because
AppWrite is then telling Auth0 where to come back to.
right. And because we already are on the correct server in AppWrite, it knows how to handle the rest. It's got the project and all that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So let me open up the inspector just one more time. I used to have to do this stuff in SAP, which was even worse than this, if you can believe it or not. But this always helps a ton with JWTs and all that fun stuff. So if we go login, you'll see here. So here is our hosted.codingcat dev.
Yeah.
So this is, and we're saying on success, come back to localhost 3000,
Mm-hmm.
and then failure, do the same thing. So we then get redirected over to authorize, which is in Auth0. So here's our authorize with the correct client, and all of that should be good. And it has
And then
response
it
type
has
of code.
Yep, and it has the redirect URI in there to the AppWrite domain.
Let's see.
And the first line of that, like in the middle,
Yes,
redirect URI. Yeah.
Yeah. Hosted. Yep. So that should be good. And now we're sitting at this login state. So the cool part, if you haven't dealt with, is there a code query param in the URL?
Yeah, we'll have to check that when
This, I believe there is, right? Response type code.
that's telling it what kind of response type it wants when it comes back. He's asking if that thing is actually
Coming back.
in there when we actually come back. Because that's the error
Okay.
that it was saying in AppWrite is it the code is required.
So let's hit Twitter now. Keep walking the chain here. So we hit the Twitter login. Sorry, no. Oh, this is the state that we were in.
Auth0.
I don't see this actually going out to Twitter though, do you? Because it went from the login state where we were at. So this is our login and then we clicked on Twitter and it posted a 302. That 302 should be sending us back. I don't think we're actually hitting Twitter. Let me do this incognito once. Yeah, we're definitely not hitting Twitter because it would pop up right here because I'm not logged in anymore. So it's definitely between Auth0 and Twitter now.
And Twitter. Jeez.
Man, sorry, I didn't mean to bring your old work back into this.
I'm like not near as well versed in that stuff as I used to be. So this would be in the social connection.
Let me bring this up too, just to make sure this auth2 doc that we we might have to redirect that somewhere. That's not quite good. I don't think this is the problem though. Like this is all fine.
Well, it's making it so it's coming back to that URL, I think, and
Yeah.
it's not including that token.
Right.
So Auth0 is just not going to Twitter and just redirecting.
Yeah, it seems like it's not finishing on its side. Um,
This would be, well, I'm not sure. So that application would actually, I don't think it makes much of a difference in this case, but I think it would be registered as a regular web app instead of single page app. Because the application that Auth0 is actually dealing with is AppWrite.
yes. Yep. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even know you could like click this. I don't think I've
Mhm.
ever used that.
And what is if you go to the installation,
What is this? Enable three-legged. Oh, there's a toggle switch.
it may be an outdated.
So this says API key and secret. I'm wondering if I need to switch that back.
Will generate API.
Let's try it out. Let's switch
Like
that.
instead of,
Yeah, instead
because
of
you added client credentials. Is that right?
yes, I did.
Yeah.
Let's switch this to this. I led us down the wrong road.
I feel like in some point in this documentation, there should be some acknowledgement from Auth0 and from Twitter to say, grab these things. These are specifically these things, not these specific things. Like
Yeah.
I don't know why they let there be so much ambiguity, especially like on the Twitter. I don't know. I just get
Yeah,
overwhelmed
it's
with Twitter
frustrating.
credentials. Yeah.
And every site, every social login is different, so
Mhm.
they're all equally as frustrating, but
Yeah. So
Twitter
now,
Twitter's very
yeah,
so I just wanna call out and let me see if I can zoom in more. No, I can't. Do you remember on Mac how you can, like, zoom? I can't ever remember that.
just Command plus.
Command no, like, in on your screen, like, you can click there's a way to do it, I can't remember.
Oh,
Anyways
like on the actual window, you can just like pinch zoom.
oh, I don't have a trackpad.
Oh, really?
No, I'm on Mac Studio.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, forget that. What this says, it says authenticate. So I just want to be very clear. When we're going through this login process, this is authenticating again. We started out talking about that way, and hopefully we'll get back to that. So this is just testing. We're not actually doing anything. This is what comes back to us, which is great. Apparently,
Oh, so that thing works now, huh? That test.
yeah. So this is
Okay.
probably when I was testing before, probably had it all screwed up. So okay, so I think we have all of that solved. Let's go all the way back over here. So I think this is hooked up right now. We click login and we're already logged in because Auth0 was cool enough to let us in already. So I did
So that's part of
forcibly,
it.
yeah, we're in, like we're in the login piece. I did forcibly create a logout. So this I put a like a issue out on our repo for because it's kind of weird on Auth0. If I were to click logout in AppWrite, I would log out of AppWrite and our JWT and all that would
But you're
be
still logged into
expired.
Auth0.
Still in Auth0. We had this all the time at work too. People
Yeah.
hated it. So if I click this now, I actually forward over to Auth0 a pop-up screen which forcibly logs us out. So now
Yeah.
when I click login, I actually get the screen. So it's better for people to understand where they're going. And now we should come back in like normal. So we are logged in with Twitter to our application now. The next part of what we were trying to do is add this Twitter access. Oops, I just clicked it. Um, this already works because again, I had all that working. Now that it's the correct user that I'm using, this part works. This was basically all the stuff I wanted to talk to James about. So I need a quick time check for you. Should we circle back, James? I know we're over my promised 1 hour.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna run
Okay.
in a few minutes. We can go until like 11:30, 12:30 your time.
Cool. So hopefully we can quickly get to what's next, and then hopefully maybe again next time we'll actually do it. Um, so this tricky part, what happened with that button is we actually redirected to authenticate, and I could show you this again, hopefully, um, real quick. If I go into our database now and I kill this user record, so I'm just going to delete this whole document. This should reset us back over here to a button. Now we have our button. Now this might go quick again, so I'm going to pop open the inspection tools. So think of this add Twitter. Ignore the fact we logged in with Twitter up here, but this new Twitter, I'm just realizing as I'm talking, I didn't update the environment variables. So
Mm-hmm.
let me do that real quick.
What happens when you have a million of them?
Oh gosh. Did I name them the same? I did by some miracle. Let's kill those. Let me restart the server. Okay. Refresh. Pull those in real quick. Okay. So now this button, if we were logged in with like LinkedIn or just AppWrite itself, doesn't matter at this point. So we're logged into our app. This is what's going to give us access. And the difference here is authorize. So instead of authenticate, like we did the first time, now we're authorizing DevRel Social to access my account on CodingCat. So I'm
And
going to
this
go,
is, I think,
something's wrong still, but yeah.
well, so that shouldn't have gone back to Auth0. So two things.
No, it shouldn't have.
One, I think you only had read permissions, and I think you want write. So if you go back to that consent screen, it said just like read your timeline and read something something.
So I've found, which is kind of interesting, that is fine. It's the old OAuth 1 setup. It's totally screwed up, James. Like
So that
just with that, am I able to update my profile image? Yeah,
oh, that's great. Okay.
I know it's not
Um,
good, but
well, okay. Well, the other thing that I think did still make sense was that shouldn't be redirecting back to Auth0.
yes,
But this is
that was
where,
odd. So that redirect, I need the localhost back in. I think we took
and
that out.
I don't know where that gets differentiated though.
So
Like I don't
I didn't
know.
either. And when I threw it in, it was just magic. And I was like, sweet, it worked. So I don't know. So this works. So let's add that back in. I don't know why, but
Wait, what?
yeah. So hang on. I'm hoping this works now. So I'm gonna add Twitter access. So we can update that too, but I really don't think it matters. I've updated this before. No, this callback is wrong. I don't know why it wants to go here now.
Well, so it will.
It totally determined it on its own before because I
There
was coming from
must
localhost.
there must have been something else. So those things don't automatically. If you use an SDK and
There it is.
tell it to go to Auth0, the SDK is going to throw in whatever domain you're on by default, and you can override that. Like you can clarify. But here, you're not going
Should be.
like you're not going anywhere through Auth0 to get to Twitter. You're going to Twitter directly.
Correct. Yep.
And
Let me try this hopefully one more time. So I'll just walk this through for people too. So when we set that over, there's our OAuth token. The interesting part to me is always how does Twitter know where to go back to right now? So I came from localhost 3000 API Twitter. What it needs to go back to is localhost/API/Twitter/callback. And what I did was I just added that back into our app for a OK callback right here.
but how?
I don't know if this is still going to work or not, but
My guess is no.
okay.
Because Twitter, like that list in Auth0 is just a list of places of approved places to go, but something still has to tell it where to go. So
Yes.
Twitter in this case is not telling Twitter in this case is redirecting back to Auth0
It
as,
shouldn't be. It should just
but
come
you're,
back to localhost.
but you only that this is where I don't know where you differentiate between um authentication and authorization, because there's only one redirect URL inside of Twitter. So if you're using the same app in Twitter, there's only one redirect URL, which means I'm logging in
Mhm.
against Twitter. It's redirecting with the URL that's configured in there to go back to Auth0. Now you're trying to do the authorization piece to get the access token for Twitter, but you're not coming through Auth0 to do that. You're going directly to Twitter, which then Twitter only has it only has one callback URL defined inside of Twitter. So it goes back to that, which is Auth0, but Auth0 didn't really have anywhere to I don't know. They're like two different flows that I don't know how to distinguish between.
Yep. Totally agree. There is one other thing I'm missing somewhere then.
But I would have thought
This one.
that like the thing I would have thought that the access token that you get back from Auth0,
This.
regardless of app right, you could send directly back to Twitter to then get the other thing.
I think this is how I did this before. I should call back. I think.
So that may, if you're telling, so now when now when you're initiating the process of going to Twitter, if you're telling Twitter that that's the callback URL to use, like what's the configuration object? Or you can click on and try it. But for that configuration object in code, I bet it has that callback URL. That's still going back to Auth0.
Yes. So let's see. For that, let's back up to that button. Where am I?
This also just feels like not a shot at anybody in particular, but this just seems like such a common thing that it should be much more straightforward.
Oh, it's so frustrating every time. Yeah, so I think this is where we actually started, right? Add Twitter access? Yes. Okay.
Add Twitter
Um,
access, which calls redirect.
so this goes into our API Twitter, which goes here.
So you hit your endpoint.
Yep. So this one. Here's our access request token. Let's see where. Yeah, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Where's the actual call to Twitter? Here. I wonder if this is where the confusion on my part was, is that this is the OAuth, and in the OAuth side, I need to put a different redirect on this application. And that's where those other keys come into play? I don't know.
To be honest, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it seems very.
The one thing I'm wondering is if you could
I feel like that was.
if you could specify as a query param the callback URL in that request that you were just looking at in code. I don't know if you can or not.
I also don't know if the OAuth token, if that already has the callback request access. Yeah, see, this is the part that's really throwing me off. Oops. Because that was this, right? So hang on, we fixed our other issue by switching out the keys. I wonder if I put these to the client keys, because that would tell it the correct one to come back to. I don't know. I'm chasing my tail, I think, at this point.
Yeah, I don't know, unfortunately.
It's all good. So long story short, I can't show you the screen I wanted to, but next time, what we're going to get into, I'll just put us up on the screen now because that was a little messy. Okay, so what we're trying to accomplish now that we'll have Twitter logged in, we're gonna then authorize Twitter to update our API. What we're doing for the image, the profile, is building an image using Cloudinary's API because we can layer on text and things like that. And then the cool part on AppWrite side is we can create cron jobs, which might be the right way to do it. So like every 30 seconds, we'll update your profile and like read your emojis, read your whatever, and dynamically create that Cloudinary image. I don't even know if we need Cloudinary, so we can talk about that too. There might be an easier way to do this. But the cool part is we can use AppWrite's cron jobs basically free. Like if you stood this thing up, which it is, on DigitalOcean for $5 or $10 or whatever, you can basically go to town at this point and have like a million users, and you can run cron jobs all day. And that should then use that access token that we have now to update your profile image, just like what's happening currently for mine. So that's the long-term goal on top of a bunch of other stuff. But thank you for fighting with me on that, James. That
I'm
was
really curious
a mess.
to figure out how you end up separating those two things in the future.
I am
How you
too.
solve that problem.
I'm gonna tear down the entire app and like start over and clean up these environment keys, but I'll write it up because I think this will be cool.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Sweet. Well, thanks for joining me. Really appreciate it. Brandon, thanks for helping out in the comments out there too. Really, he's the star of AppWrite. I'm just getting started, so cool.
Yep.
Well, we'll catch you next time with Code with Coding Cat, and thanks again, James. See ya.
Sweet. See ya.